This keeps getting crazier in Pittsburgh as the Pittsburgh Steelers keep waiting for their next quarterback. My name is Peyton Kleppe, and on today's episode of Steelers Digest, we'll be breaking down the latest Pittsburgh Steelers reports and analysis regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers football team, as Aaron Rodgers still looks to decide whether or not he wants to play football. The Pittsburgh Steelers continue to wait. Before we get into these reports, if you guys are not already currently subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button down below. Only 9% of our current viewers are actually currently subscribed. So if you click that subscribe button, we will get you the latest Pittsburgh Steelers reports and analysis. Let's get right into it. Aaron Rodgers. This is a guy the Pittsburgh Steelers continue to wait for, as he still looks to make up his mind whether or not he wants to play football or he wants to ride off in the sunset. More reports have come out today regarding his future. Aaron Rodgers was asked today, would he retire a Packer? And he said, if they came to me and offered it, I would do it. But they obviously have not offered it to him. They've been rolling with Jordan Love, having a ton of success with him, focusing on him. So they don't want to look in the past. They're looking for the future. But I do think in a few years, once Rodgers is fully out of the NFL, he will eventually go back to Green Bay and retire as a Packer. But I still think the Pittsburgh Steelers have a chance on getting Aaron Rodgers. The Steelers are starting the third phase of the offseason on Tuesday when the players report for the first day of organized team activities, or OTAs. Rodgers isn't expected to show up, but Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk does not rule out this possibility. Florio did state that, it would be fitting for Rodgers to try to show up quietly with a low-key signing that doesn't include any pomp and or circumstance, wrote Florio, suggesting that Rodgers could silently join the Steelers when people least expect it. And yes, that would be something that Aaron Rodgers probably could look to do, but I think Mike Florio also said that Aaron Rodgers was going to come out on Pat McAfee's show and at the big Pittsburgh night out and announced he was going to be the next starting quarterback, but that never happened. So although Mike Florio, he has had some good takes, I don't know if this is just another outlandish, reach, because Aaron Rodgers has really not been making too many media appearances other than a few Q&As he's done in the past couple days. He did do another one a few days ago where he was discussing Chicago, and the reporter asked about when he played the Bears, obviously, in Green Bay, and he did say that he is looking to play the Chicago Bears or play in Chicago because the team has a road trip to Chicago or something, and the only two teams that still need a quarterback that do play Chicago are the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints, obviously with Derek Carr retiring. So, Aaron Rodgers is showing some signs that he does want to sign in Pittsburgh, but he's really leaving a lot of possibilities. There's a ton of other teams that do play the Bears this year on the road. Obviously, the Vikings are another team that do play the Bears on the road this year. So it still doesn't even rule out the Vikings hypothetical if Aaron Rodgers is deciding that he wants to wait and keep waiting to see if the Vikings do want to sign him, complete the Brett Favre archetype ring. But, I still have some confidence. Obviously, Art Rooney has stated he has some confidence, and I do think Rodgers will eventually show up, whether it will be at OTAs or it will be before the start of the season. I do think it will happen. Aaron Rodgers played pretty well last year, numbers-wise, not really game-to-game wise. Obviously, he did not have a great year. In New York, he only won about 5 games, lost 12 or 13 others. 12, not 13. But, Aaron Rodgers, he's just one piece that the Pittsburgh Steelers could look to bring in who could help solve our offensive problems, whether it is making these deep passes down the field to DK Metcalf or, just playing when we need him to be. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, they were coming into Pittsburgh, and we really didn't ask him to do much. Obviously, our offense wasn't too great, but in the beginning of the season, it was working. So if Aaron Rodgers is just supposed to be a guy that could just come in and just kind of manage game for us, I think he could do that perfectly. He's obviously shown in the past that he is a guy that can control a game and put up 400 or 500 passing yards, 5, 6 touchdowns passing if you need him to. But I don't think he's going to have to do that in Pittsburgh. Our defense has continued to improve. I do think we're probably going to be a top 10, top 5 defense in the NFL next year. So Aaron Rodgers, if this guy could just come in, score some touchdowns, and just stay healthy, that's obviously a key as well. I think he can have a lot of success in Pittsburgh. There's a lot of pieces around him. Obviously, DK Metcalf. We have young receivers in Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin, who are great route runners. Obviously, Roman Wilson, we still have some questions about, but Calvin Austin has proved that he's a great route runner, deep threat guy, great slot receiver. DK Metcalf, proven guy in Seattle, even had some throwing sessions with Rodgers this offseason. So, I do think there's a ton of upside on this Pittsburgh Steelers team, and especially having that great championship level defense that we do have. It's really going to also, limit Rodgers' time on the field, or vice versa. If Rodgers is scoring a ton, our defense is going to be on the field a ton. If defense is not playing great, Rodgers is going to have to put up some numbers. But obviously, defense is expected to play great. We are the Pittsburgh Steelers. We are built on our defense. So I do think Aaron Rodgers, if he actually does come to Pittsburgh, when he does come to Pittsburgh, I do think he's going to help us out a lot. Just get our offense going if he can stay healthy. He is an older guy, obviously. He's looking to finish his career wherever he does decide to go, if he does decide to actually play. This guy's got to stay healthy. Our offensive line has got to protect him. We're going to have some questions on our offensive line. Looking at guys like Broderick Jones and Troy Fontanu, two guys that are young tackles that are really going to have to prove themselves next year. They're still young. They're still growing, but they've definitely not played the best. Obviously, Broderick Jones, he's definitely struggled with some holding calls and just general blocking. Coming out of Georgia, he was probably one of the biggest guys on the field. Every game, playing these smaller schools, and then you come in the NFL where you can't just rely on your size, and you got a guy like Myles Garrett coming up against you, a superhuman built dude. You're screwed if you're Broderick Jones. So Broderick's obviously got to improve, and Troy Fontanu's got to prove that he's worth that first-round pick we used him for. He was a guy coming into last year that I did have high hopes for, and I do think he's still going to be a great tackle, but he's still got to prove it. He missed a majority of last season, and he's really got to prove himself. I do like our two guards on the inside, looking at Mason McCormick, I believe, at the right guard position, and Isaac Seumalo at the left guard, coming off Pro Bowl. And then we got the young buck at center and Zach Frazier. I think this dude's going to be a Pro Bowler in the future. So, bringing in Aaron Rodgers, having a veteran quarterback that's going to be under center, I think this guy's just going to help our whole offense. If he can keep his mouth shut and he can just stay healthy. But I do think he will sign in these next couple weeks, if it is before OTAs like Florio says, or if it is, just right before training camp or right before the season, who knows. I do think it will happen eventually. Unfortunately, that is all I have for you guys tonight on Steelers Digest. If you're not currently subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button. Thank you so much. Here we go, Steelers. Peace out, boys.